my wife is off to my daughter's cheerleading game, and she took my other daughter, and my son's hanging with his friends in the house. So I thought I'd come into the backyard, and I live fairly close to the beach, not super close, but close enough that it's cold at night. We don't have hot summer nights here like you guys might have in Texas or Utah, Arizona, like that. Our nights get pretty cool. And today I think we only had a high of about 80 degrees or so. So with a high of 80 degrees, if it doesn't really stick around with it being hot tomorrow, a lot of times we end up getting a colder night. So it's a little bit chilly. I put my fire pit on here. Get a little bit warmer. And anyway, thought I'd come and chat. I've just been talking with a couple of my friends on I guess, chat, iMessage, whatever. And we were having a good debate about and watching some really cool video about the gold to silver ratio. So you guys, thanks for the thumbs ups there. Leave some comments too. What do you guys think about the gold to silver ratio? Is that something that you're following? And is that something that you think is going to change here soon? I definitely think it's going to. Hey, Kiko, welcome. Good to have you stop by here. So I'm going to do my best. Hopefully you guys can hear me out here okay. All right, so we got a couple of people out here. Pete, shout out to Pete, to Jason. Good evening, Kiko. Let's see, what do I have here? Did you not get enough from the weather? No, the weather's been great. We're getting a little bit of fog here at night, but I'm hoping to do some surfing this weekend. So I'm pretty excited about that. All right, let's see. We've got Shiny Man. Hello, how's it going? And Intrinsic Factor, welcome from Vancouver. Awesome. Well, I'm from Southern California, so our Southern California nights get pretty cold. I don't know if the hoodie was invented down here or not, but everybody carries hoodies in their cars because a lot of times we'll go to the beach, we'll go surfing, and what'll end up happening, SPB in the house, what's up? Sheila, welcome. Welcome to the channel. So we always have hoodies with us in the car because you can go from having, a 75-degree day to having it be down in the low 60s pretty fast. Cold, our ocean's cold here, unlike on the East Coast. I rarely go in the ocean without a wetsuit on, especially when I'm surfing or if I'm scuba diving. I don't want to lose too much of my heat too quickly. And with surfing, if any of you guys do surf, I know Kiko surfs, you can be sitting out there for 20 minutes in between swells that are coming in, and you're just hanging off your board, and you're just sitting there. For those of you that haven't tried surfing, I'm going to talk about surfing for a minute, and then I do want to jump into the gold and silver ratio from a conversation I was just having, and I want to get your guys' take on it too. But real quick on surfing, one of the things I love about surfing is when you're out there, there is a fair amount of downtime often, at least here in Southern California. If you go out frequently, there's days where it's kind of flat, there's not a lot going on. On those days, you get to know the people, you get to create a community that's out there when you're sitting out there on your board. And a lot of times you're taking turns to take a wave in. A lot of places you'll have too many people. You do not want to be coming down on top of someone, and you can hurt them. You can do a lot of damage. You can cut their boards in half. So you get to meet a lot of people out there, and that's one of the reasons I just wanted to throw a quick video on today here, or a quick live stream is, to me, the reason for doing this whole YouTube thing is to create community, to meet more people in my local community, and I have been. I've met Giga, that lives in my city. He's from Brazil. He's on my Silver 101 video if you haven't watched that yet. And he's a good friend now. We text all the time, probably every day, just about now, and we have a lot of great conversations. We're finding the great places to buy silver at crazy discounts. We're also finding great places to sell our silver that we don't necessarily want right now. And if you guys were on Yankee Stacking's channel last night, I thought it was awesome what he did for the community with shout outs. And I think a lot of us were going crazy with the super chats. So it was really fun. Hey, Knox, welcome. And, I just hit over 1,000 yesterday. I think from Yankee's channel, I picked up another 40 people last night, which was awesome. And now I've got to focus on getting a little bit more of the watch hours in. So hence more of the live streams that I'm doing going forward. It's part of YouTube. It's how things kind of work. So anyway, with that said, and everything else that's going on, it's about community. Surfing is a lot of times about community. You like to go surf with people you know, and when you're out there, you meet a lot of people. And so I've been able to meet my friend from Brazil, Giga here. I've also met another gentleman that lives a few cities away that shared with me that he has a way. Hey, thank you guys. Thank you, Creeping Time, for the shout out on the 1,000 subs. And he's got a way of buying silver that can save me on things like sales tax, which is awesome because I'm having a hard time waiting to take out big chunks of silver. I don't want to wait until I've accumulated $2,000 to buy more silver. And that's how it is in California right now, unless you want to pay sales tax. So for you that are subscribers of the channel and have been for this week, you will have seen a couple posts that I put out in our community where there was a couple deals that came out. One of them was for $1 over spot for silver, and the other one was at spot for 5 rounds. I think there are 5 Buffalo rounds, but I could be wrong. There's a lot of stuff I'm looking at. But you know, it's part of community. I want to share what I see with you guys. I don't have any affiliation or any sponsors from anybody right now. I have received one, and I mean one gold back from the Gold Back Company when I went up and visited them. That interview should be coming out pretty soon. I'm hoping to drop my LCS interview with Liberty Coins tomorrow. I need to finish editing that after this. And what I'll share with you guys about the community thing is I've got this other gentleman that I've just met. He came off of Yankee Stacking's channel too. And there's a way for us to buy some other silver without having to wait for the 2,000. And so when I mention these other deals that are coming out, as soon as deals come out, I'm going to try to notify you guys as soon as I know about them so you guys can get the deals. For me, it's a little trickier to go and buy those spot silver rounds. I've got to pay sales tax of almost 7.8%, I believe, here in Orange County. So when I go to buy those, I end up at like $27.80. And so I'm no longer buying at a spot deal anymore. So for me, I can't always take advantage of those things. I have to wait. But if I can find other ways to do it, and it's legal, it's not sketchy. Is that better? I think I pressed a button on my microphone right there. So. All right. Let me know if you guys can hear me now. Yes, you can. Okay. Don't press the red button, guys. Sorry about that. All right. So what I was saying is you tend to see a lot of people that have Florida license plates as well as Nevada license plates. And the state of California likes to spend money, so they like to capture a lot of tax dollars. And they will go as far as trying to audit your cell phone records to find out how often you're in different places. Hey, Craig, welcome. Red button usually is bad to press. It really is. There's the red button. I'm not kidding, guys. So don't press the red button. You also don't want to have to pick up the red telephone. That means that there's some really bad things about to happen too. So watch out for those. All right, so let's talk about the gold to silver ratio for a minute here. So I was talking to one of my friends. He sent me a post, and it's my friend that's a doctor I've done bartering with before here locally. And, you know, I was watching this. It's more of listening to the video on Oh my gosh, I'm having a blank on the site. It's definitely not a YouTube video. You can't put this stuff on YouTube. But talking about the gold to silver ratio, and I had always heard that it was closer to 10 to 11 ounces of silver for every ounce of gold that comes out of the ground. This gentleman was talking about more of a ratio of closer to like 1 to 2 to 1 or so, which I hadn't really heard of that. I've heard biblically, I think it was a 10 to 1 ratio, but I could be wrong on that. But regardless of that, that's way lower than 80 to 1, like we've been seeing recently. And even as of late as a few weeks ago, we were seeing like almost an 85 to 1 ratio of silver to gold. And I thought I'd address that tonight here and kind of talk about that and get your guys' opinions and thoughts on that. So one, if I'm off on any of that, and you guys know for sure, do correct me on that. Neophyte, welcome to the channel too. Let's see who else we've got on here that just joined. Chech Stacker as well, welcome. Christopher Smith, good to have you. I think I've called out, let's see, Sheila Anderson. And I didn't think we had bugs in California. I'm starting to feel them all over my legs. So I guess we have bugs out here. I haven't seen those for a while. Maybe it's due to all the moisture we've had. But let's talk about ratio. All right. So one of the things I want to bring up as far as ratio goes is the ratio will fluctuate over time. And if you happen to be young in your 20s, you're going to see it fluctuate multiple times in your life unless we have things completely derail and everything changes and society is different than the way it has been in the past. Then I don't know. It could be different. But right now, what I would say, hey, thank you, Craig, for the shout out on the 1,000K subs. It's been hard getting there, and I'll tell that story after this. And I'm giving you guys some advice. Some of you are building your own YouTube channels, and I've got some advice from my experience of getting there. I've been able to get to about 1,000 subs in just a week or two over 4 months. So I think I was able to hustle that pretty fast. So go back to the gold to silver, the silver to gold ratio. It'll fluctuate. In modern times, from what I've seen on charts, I can't pull it up here right now for us. But what I have seen is I've seen it fluctuate closer to somewhere between about 40 to 50 up into 80. And you'll kind of see it go back and forth. When you see that, thank you, Historic Metals. When you see that fluctuating, you can take advantage of it. So even if the spot price of silver does not change, but drastically, let's say. So let's say it stays in the channel it's been at for the last 2 years, somewhere between 16 and let's call it $26 an ounce for silver. If it's staying in that channel, you can make a little bit of money potentially if you're able to buy stuff really close to spot and you time it perfectly and the spot's closer to when it's at 16. You might be able to make some money off of just inexpensive silver. Most of the time when you're going to make money off silver right now, it's going to be a collectible coin like a first edition or a first of the series type of a coin, or one that has really low mintage. So for example, Drew Brophy's 1 ounce silver surfboard coin, I think those have the potential of really jumping up, and I do have those for sale on my eBay channel. If you guys want some of those, let me know, and I'll see if I can figure out a discount code for you guys, and I'll throw it on my channel in the community, and I can throw that out to you guys. I will be giving one away on my big 1,000 sub party next Wednesday, so let me do a shout out to that real quick. I'm looking for you guys to maybe give me a little information on timing. I was thinking of maybe starting that at 5, but I'm now rethinking to maybe go from 6 or 7, maybe 7 o'clock at night, and maybe go to 10 my time. So that'll be a little harder for you guys on the East Coast, but let me know, is 7 Pacific too late to start it? I've been looking at starting it at 5, but I'm seeing more people being able to get on, at least on the West Coast, if we go a little bit later than 5. So leave a comment down below if it's okay or if it's too late for you guys if I start at 7 Pacific next week. I will be giving away a signed Drew Brophy silver surfboard PAMP coin, and there are only 14 of those signed as far as I know. You've seen my video with the first one. Drew then went ahead and did 10 of them that he sold for $185 per coin. And then I was able to convince him to sign one for Yankee, which you guys may have seen on Yankee's channel last night. And then I was able to get one for my friend Giga. I don't know, does that add? I think that adds up to 14. And I will have other really good giveaways too. So I'm kind of working on seeing what I'm going to do with a couple of those. So that's going to be pretty fun. The other thing I want to throw out there is when you're looking at the ratio, I'll go back to that for a second here. It can happen without the price really fluctuating too drastically of silver. So if you watch it closely, right now would be the time to be accumulating more silver than gold because that ratio is high. When that ratio flips and it gets closer to, say, 60 or 50, that's a time when you could be starting to sell your silver and accumulate more gold. And if you go back and forth, you're going to have a multiplying effect. Now, with anything with silver and gold that you're buying, unless you have channels and ways to do it without having to pay premiums, you're going to have to factor in your premiums too. Okay, so don't necessarily think this is going to be a way you can totally game the whole system and make a ton of money. You can, but there are premiums there. But what I was going back and forth with my friend on from this video that he was sharing is they were talking about having the gold to silver ratio get down in the range of, say, like 1.6 to 1, which would be insane. If that were to happen and you have silver, you are going to be so happy you have silver. Not financial advice from me, just kind of, we're having a chat here in thoughts. But if that were to happen, that'd be killer. And that kind of brought up the question of us going back and forth talking about how heavy are you in silver versus gold. And I think that's probably a good question you guys might have for me too. So I'm much more heavy as far as how much US fiat dollars I've invested personally in gold than I am in silver. And I know a lot of you may be the opposite of that. You may have a lot more silver than gold. But for me, living here in California, I'm more concerned about wealth retention and preservation than I am about having silver, do a huge crazy multiplier and making a ton of money off of it. I still see silver as pretty risky. And so I definitely go a little heavier in gold than I do in silver. Now, with that said, probably the last 3 months, maybe 4 months, I've been accumulating a lot more silver than I have gold. I haven't completely decided on what I want my ratio to be of gold to silver ounces against each other yet. But for me, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of at good places on both of them for me personally. And what I'm doing now is just kind of dollar cost averaging into what I can get and, accumulating. All right, so let's see. We got a few people on here real quick. A couple comments we're just running past here. All right, let me see what you guys are talking about on here too. So I got some 7 PMs are good for people. So Knox, let me know if that works for you because I probably will need you on there as well as SPB. But that dude doesn't sleep. I'm talking to SPB sometimes at like midnight my time. Arbitrage, you guys, it is arbitrage for sure. If you don't have to pay taxes, switching back and forth would be good. So if you're not going to pay sales tax, if you didn't have to pay income tax on it too, that would be really good. That's up to you guys on it, whether you're going to pay income tax or not. I'm not going to tell you not to do it. You'll hear the story of people losing their silver at the bottom of a boat, which is a common joke you hear out there. I always think that's kind of funny. But what I'll tell you guys is I'm a religious guy. I follow the 10 Commandments, and to me, honesty is a huge part of that. So if you're going to be selling stuff and you're making a gain, you should be paying taxes, in my opinion, as well as the IRS's. And you should also be taking a loss on it. So a lot of times, if you can set up an LLC, it's much easier to do that with your accountant. At least that's what mine has advised me on. Sean, okay, good. Sean does sleep. I just don't know when that is. You'll have to tell me. Is Tiger on here? Tiger, welcome to the stream, man. Welcome. All right, so the other thing I'll throw out to you guys too is if any of you are interested in having a cameo appearance on one of my live streams, let me know, and we'll do something with that too. All right, I'm going to be right back. I'm taking a quick break. I'm going to put on my lights up here so you guys can see me better. So give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. You guys will be able to see me a lot better now. I'm also turning down that fire. I think I overestimated that one a little bit too. All right, what do you got on my hair? So, Mike, welcome. Oh, goodness. All right, I'm going to talk about the weather, and then we'll get back to. Well, first, let me finish on the ratio. So, when you guys are looking at ratio and you're looking at allocation, you got to set a goal. I've set goals. I've hit those goals. Now I'm trying to figure out what my next goals are. I am watching the ratio. I will tell you that if we start getting down into like the 60-50 range for the ratio, I will probably start considering selling some of my silver to accumulate more gold. And next time the ratio goes back up higher again, I would do the same, not a breath, with selling some of my gold and buying more silver. So you can play those ratios. Be careful with looking at percentages of premiums. I think Yankee Stacking's premium numbers are stay below 20% for buying silver and stay below about 5% when buying gold. Some people have a rule of thumb of I won't buy any gold above 2,000 or I won't buy it above 1950 or 1900. But I think it's important to set those kind of goals that are out there. 50 to 1, go heavy in gold. Yeah. So when I'm looking at a lot of this stuff right now, guys, I do think silver is a better metal to stack currently. But if you have no gold, I think you should also have gold. I'm not really personally, I'm not playing around with platinum. I don't own any of it right now. I don't own any rhodium or palladium. I do own lead. I think that's another one of the key metals that you should be stacking. And these bugs are coming out of nowhere. So that's enough of that. Let's talk about the weather for a second. So we had a hurricane come through here that turned into a tropical storm that really turned into the weakest storm we've had for the year, at least where I live. If you guys, I think I put a short out on there showing it, but we had rain for about a day and a half, maybe a half an inch to an inch that accumulated. None of my property flooded. I ended up putting 300 pounds of sandbags on a trampoline that we have in our yard, and my wife made fun of me, and so did my kids, and they said, "Dad, look, it's flying away," and the trees weren't even moving. So I told them next time I'm not going to put sandbags on, and we're just going to let the trampoline fly. So I don't care. I don't use it. But yeah, we really didn't get too touched by it. Now, if you go out to the Palm Springs area, the desert, they got blasted. And so that really got bad. Okay, Tiger, let's see. Tiger's got some advice here. So he says 82 protect, 47, 49, and your family. All right, I'm not reading through all the crypticness on that one, Tiger. You'd have to specify that more. All right, so we got Raven up in Tahoe, 62 degrees right now, nice and cool. Yeah, so I am at 70 degrees right now. So we're still cooling down a little bit, but it'll get cooler down by the beach. What I do want to do as we get into probably the cooler nights in the fall here is I will probably do some live streams directly from the beach at one of the bonfires. I think that'd be kind of fun. So I think we're going to do some of that stuff. That'll be fun too for you guys. Okay, so we've got Stacker specifies 82 equals lead, 47 silver, and 79 gold per the periodic table. Yes, I gotcha. I do have a master's degree. I should have known that one. All right, Seymour talks about he trades platinum using PPLT. The premium is too high for physical, in my opinion. So one thing I will mention, we have another call out here on trampolines. Let's see, we have a trampolines good for orthopedic doctor business. Yes. Also get an umbrella policy if you have anything to protect in case someone falls off of it visiting your house. So maybe we can address mining companies for a second here too. I had a bunch of money in the mining companies and I've pulled 100% of it out. Now, I don't necessarily recommend that. This is not financial advice, but if you guys are interested in investing in mining companies, what I will tell you is it takes patience. I had money in there for about a year and it did nothing. It just went up and down a little bit and it stayed there. My understanding is if we see a big movement in gold and silver, we should see a multiplier effect that comes into place with those mining companies. So as we start to see some more movement on that, that might be something that I'll do some videos on in the future. As we're starting to see, if we see gold starting to go above, start kissing $2,100 again, I think that's probably a good point to be looking at it. And they're so beaten down. That's an issue. And I also come from the thought that I think we're going to see a strong correction in the stock market still. So for me, I'm not real heavy in stocks at the moment. I'm waiting for a correction, and then I'll be reassessing to see if there's some strong companies that come out of that. One area that may be an exception to that is the AI companies. And I don't mean AI companies that everybody's been putting money into and had a little bump in. Some of those may be good still, but there's probably some smaller AI companies out there, and I haven't taken the time to really see which ones are available on the stock market. But that is something that'll probably keep going for quite a while and do well. But if it's already gone up because of the AI hype, I think you're going to run into some issues there. Hey Jeff, how's it going? Welcome to the chat. Okay, so let's see. Tiger's got a few of these. So a couple of them I'll call out on these that I have owned in the past. I have had GROY and UROY and GLDG. DNN is another one he called out, and I've had UROY. I guess I did call that one out. There's also another one that's like Metalla, and then I forget the other royalty company that I had for a while too. So for me, I just don't have my money in those right now, but it could be a good thing. You might be able to make a lot of money off those. Craig says he only buys stocks that pay monthly dividends, and that is actually the smartest thing in my opinion right now, is if you're able to buy dividend stocks that are at a fair value for purchasing. There are some websites you can subscribe to and pay money, and you can link them into your stock reports, your brokerage accounts, and they will actually tell you and rank dividend stocks to see if it's a good purchase or if it's a time to sell. I think it is still important to have things that produce yield. A lot of people have bonds. I'm not really into that right now myself because I think the government's got too many issues going on. But, I've got relatives that did the I bonds and were able to get them at like 9.75%. And, that's pretty good. All right, I'm going to change that. It sounds bugging me. So you can make money on bonds. You can make money on real estate that has a positive cash flow. You can make money from CDs. You can make money from stocks too. So, as you look at portfolios, Yankee kind of brought this up last night too, that I think is important to look at, is it's really balancing. If you're 100% in metals and you have no cash, and all of a sudden you have a refrigerator that breaks, you're now either having to go get a loan for that refrigerator, or you're having to sell some of your metals for it. If you happen to have cash, you could buy it with cash. If you have no yielding assets that are coming in and you just have metals, you're also not going to be able to continue to accumulate your metals because you may not have extra cash flow coming in from your job. So, I think a balance in everything is important for you guys, and I think it's worth looking at that. But I would be curious to see what you guys do. Do many of you have stocks? Are you guys all in metals? How are you guys set up on that? So Craig says he only buys. Oh, we already did that. Sorry. A September to remember. Yeah, I think September is going to be kind of nuts, guys. All right, let's see here. 40 to 50% correction coming for the market, if not more. Tread lightly. You guys, I do think there's going to be a big correction, so I'm not putting my money there. Uranium Co. I own, slight increase, but gold decreasing. Sean said I had to sell metals to get the car fixed today. So that does happen. So one thing I'll talk about is you hear a lot of this term of be your own bank or be the bank. I do like it, and I think it's pretty cool, but it's something you have to be careful of because you got to set it up right. So, if you're going to be your own bank, I think having some cash in the bank is important for emergencies. Having some at your house can be helpful, especially when you need to do something quickly or if the banks aren't operating and you can't get money out for a period of time. I like to recommend 2 weeks to 3 months worth of cash if you can do that. I also think it's good to have stuff that's fairly liquid. So what do I mean by that? One strategy is if you have the funds for it to have 3 months of cash and then have another 3 months of metals to short up. Well, you really should hold your metals for 3 to 5 years to be able to get a good return off of them. And what I mean by that is to be able to sell them in excess of the premiums you paid, including the discount you're going to be paying when you sell it back to a bullion dealer, for example. So what would be appropriate silver or gold to put in there? And that's going to be your stuff that is very low cost. So you're going to probably be looking at like gold bars, and you're probably going to be looking at silver rounds. And so I did have an issue where we had a flood in my house. It cost $5,000 and my deductible is $5,000. So I just had to pay it. And I had some silver bars that I purchased on gold bars that I purchased on Black Friday and was able to sell those because I bought them on Black Friday at spot. And I did not pay sales tax, and I did not pay shipping. So I was able to, I think I bought them at like $1,730 or $1,750, somewhere around there. And I was able to sell them at about a little over $2,000, I think, is when I was selling them. And I was able to use that as being my own bank. So I made money on that transaction. That was not something that cost me anything. So I do think if you're going to use metals as part of an emergency fund strategy, I think it's important to have some metals that are very inexpensive so that when you go to sell them at spot, for example, if that's all you can get for them or a little bit below it, you're not taking a hit, and hopefully you're coming out positive. I was going to talk about something else, and I'm forgetting what it was earlier. You guys will have to remind me if you can remember. Swing trading, the other ones, okay? All right, what do we got here? Stay away from bonds because they are long-term, 5 to 30-year loans. I purchase T-bills because they are shorter term and give higher returns. Back anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 years, tops 5% more. So I think that's probably some sound advice there. If you guys are going to do any investing in the stock market or in bonds, I would recommend having someone help walk you through that if you haven't done it before, or get a financial advisor. It can be tricky. You got to be careful, especially if you're buying individual stocks. You can run into really throwing off your portfolio and losing a lot of money. Bricks are probably going to hit us at some point. I do think that's going to happen. All right, so we got a few people that are getting some yield, okay. All right, we've got some guys are doing swing trader and at least mentioning it. All right, Tiger, we'll keep talking, so you can if you can reply, great. If not, just listen, and that'd be great. So Jeff talks about 20% of your portfolio should be in metals. So Jeff, one thing I'll kind of throw out there is my wife told me to never use the term should, and I do use it way too much. And the reason for that is each situation is going to be a little different. So I was listening earlier to Kito News Rebel Capital. I'm forgetting the guy's name right now that does Rebel Capital. Can't believe I'm forgetting his name. But he was talking about with his portfolio, and he always keeps a minimum of 10% in gold, which I thought was interesting. And then he talked about having, and that was for wealth insurance. And then he talked about having 10% in risky assets, things like cryptocurrencies or silver. To him, that was risky. And then he talked about having a fair amount in yield. So about, he had another percent in there too. So 70 to 80% that was producing a yield. George Gammon, that's right. So he was talking about that today. That I thought was interesting. And, I've heard other people talking about going up to 20%. I've seen some websites that recommend that. And I think there's even places I've seen that are recommending even higher, or at least they're talking about some people are going as high as 50% of their investable money is going into precious metals. So here's the question. If you're not in the stock market, if you're not in the bond market, you're not in the real estate market, you've got metals, and you also have cash, and you're worried about the banks, what do? You got to find a place to put stuff somewhere. So, be careful. Don't buy things that you don't want to buy. And if you don't want to have too high of a percentage of metals, definitely do not go crazy with it. Cash is still king right now, guys. Metals are not king right now. It's cash. Cash is still being able to buy a lot of stuff. And if we have a big correction, like I think could happen, a lot of people are talking about it, cash is going to be completely king. We could see metals go down in value quite a bit. We could also see them hold their price, and we could see the spot price get wrecked, and we could see premiums increase. So it's hard to say. We could see a few different things that happen with that. But anyway, with that said, I think, there's a lot of good ideas out there. I think when it comes to allocation and portfolios, it's really important to look at your time horizons. It's important to see when you're going to need the money. It's important to realize if you're going to have kids going to college, or, do you have an emergency fund? And so I think preparing for all those things is going to be really good and helpful. All right, so let me see what other comments you guys have here. Cash is king in U.S. only. We are fortunate. Yeah, that is probably true. 10% in gold is a good amount. 20%. So Jeff had mentioned that too. So I don't know what the best or the right amount is, guys, to put into these metals. But what I will tell you is I have a feeling that things are going to be different going forward than they are right now. So we've got another one here. Neophyte mentions 5 to 20% of overall portfolio for them. So, I think each person can have a different allocation of that, guys, which is pretty good. All right, so we've got L on here saying, Stacking Surfer and everyone here, how much time do you think we have before the dollar crashes and SHTF? I'll give you my opinion, then I like to hear what you guys' opinions are too. So, and by the way, if you haven't hit the thumbs up yet, please hit that. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe. So I think we could be seeing series of SHTF situations happening over the next decade. I think the one that's probably most prominent that could happen here soon is a correction in the stock market, as well as seeing a lot of issues with regional banks. As I've mentioned in videos before, regional banks right now are in a very precarious situation. If you guys are familiar with fractional lending, fractional reserve lending that banks do, every dollar that you deposit into a bank, they're able to lend out anywhere between 80 and 98% of that, okay, depending on the kind of institution it is. And when they lend that money out, it's going into commercial real estate, it's going into residential real estate, it might be going into cars, and it could be going into other personal loans, and then it also is being used for credit cards. So they're not holding everything. And right now, a lot of those institutions have a lot of bonds. And to the point earlier with bonds, as the interest rate continues to go up, and they bought these bonds a long time ago that have really small interest rates, and they're starting to pay out more in interest, they're starting to get upside down on their balance sheets. And right now, they do not have to claim those losses. They can say they're going to hold it to maturity, but it can create a lot of problems. So thanks, guys, for coming by. If you've got to jump off on the East Coast, thank you. I know it's kind of late for you guys. So one of the issues that can happen there is you can see a crunch if the Fed takes rates higher. Right now we're at 5.5% on the Fed funds rate. If they take that up into the 6.5, 7, 7.5, 8, somewhere in those ranges, I think it's going to break the commercial backed mortgages that a lot of these institutions have, and you're going to start to see office buildings and other kinds of commercial real estate go back to the bank, and the banks are going to go upside down and they're going to fail. So if we start to see banks failing more frequently, and you start to hear about more of them happening, right now it's all quiet. When people are going to the discount window of the Fed, they're not really releasing that information. And we've already had, I think, another 3 or 4 banks that have merged or been taken over real quietly without it hitting the news. And we've had several of them in California here. If you start seeing more of the banks going down, then I think we're getting closer to an SHTF situation. So I do think that is probably the more recent one, and I think that could take the stock market down. The Fed can fix some of that by potentially lowering interest rates very quickly. And if you see interest rates lower very quickly, you could see the price of gold and silver go up. We don't know what crypto is going to do exactly. It's never been in this kind of situation. But I do think that's kind of our immediate thing that's happening. There's also BRICS. BRICS could come out with a gold-backed currency or a basket of commodity type currency, or it could be tied to the price of gold. It could be pegged to it. And when they do those things, a lot of times they're pegging it to a specific price that they call out, and that could be quite a bit higher. Robert Kiyosaki was thinking it would be, I think, $3,000 is what he'd called out. So timing-wise, I don't know. I mean, something could happen in the next couple days to weeks, and it could take, 6 months. I don't know that the Fed can keep raising rates for the next 6 months and not have things break, personally. So that would be kind of my horizon that I'm planning for personally. I think we could have other SHTF situations that go on. I don't think the dollar is going to zero. I think it's going to be around for the next couple decades, but I do think it's going to continue to lose value. So one of my favorite movies of all time is Back to the Future 2. I thought it was really cool that they had a powered surfboard in it. I thought the flying cars were awesome, and I remember as a kid loving that show. And I believe that was 2015 that they were supposed to be in the future, and they were paying $50 for Pepsi. So I think you're going to see more things like that, guys, where in the future you're going to be paying $50 for a Pepsi and a Coke at some point. All right, let me see what else we got in here from you guys. So that's kind of my thought to the question there. And I'm trying to remember who asked that question real quick. Oh, it was L. So that'd be kind of my question or my thought. Knox has got fractional banking pitfalls refresher course. Watch A Wonderful Life. That is perfect. We watch that every Christmas with my family, and we all cry, and then I get really sad about the state of the economy. All right, Shadrach, thank you for coming. Knox. Let's see. Food costs set to rise 30 to 40% within a year. Beat the stock market by stocking up on some food. All right, that's pretty good too. So I'll tell you guys that I actually did pretty well. My best investment of 2022 was buying a bunch of food at the very beginning of the year from Costco, and then we went through a lot of it. And so it wasn't just food; it was things like shampoo and all of these other products. And I watched the price go up about, I'm going to say anywhere from 20 to 30%, so similar to what you were mentioning there. And then I watched the sizes shrink. So I did a short on that too. And I watched things like Q-tips and like flossers and everything else. They started shrinking the boxes, and they give you fewer units. And then they still creep up the price a little bit. And then I don't know if you guys have noticed, but eating out, the food quality has gone down. It doesn't taste as good. It's not as high quality. The portions seem to be shrinking a little bit, and the prices are going up. And so, they can't totally double the prices overnight and give you the same thing. They know people aren't going to do that. So you get what's called shrinkflation. Yep, Knox called it right there. So you definitely run into that. Okay, let's see what we've got here. Shiny, shiny, man. The inverted yield curve for many months is hurting many banks on the verge of collapse. Yes, that is very true too. And it's what's kind of affecting the bond yields and everything too. One thing I watch to tell if inflation is going up or down is by watching the truck drivers of America and what new laws affect them and which companies are laying off or going under. Yep, that's a good one. Job reports today was some of a joke today. Yeah, here's the deal. We've had 6 months of job reports where they recalculate the number and it gets bad or worse a month later after they recalculate it. So it's all kind of cooked books, guys. Yeah, fewer truck drivers means longer delivery times. Let's see, reported inflation rate by the government is a joke. I agree with that too. So when you look at the CPI index, it leaves out a lot of things, and it is definitely not the kind of inflation I'm seeing. In June, I went to Florida, and we were out there for 3 weeks almost, maybe 2 weeks. It felt like 3 weeks, but I think we were out there for about 2 weeks. And I came back, and everything was more expensive. All the restaurant prices had gone up. Things at Costco were more expensive all of a sudden. There was like a big jump. And so you don't always see the prices moving every month. You'll sometimes see them jump, 3 or 4 months, and then there's a big jump up that you see a lot of things happen. But I'm definitely feeling it. And for us, we're kind of in that carpool phase with kids and a lot of dance and cheerleading and stuff like that, to where we're having to eat a little bit more on the go, and it's affecting our family definitely because everything's gotten expensive. And that's one of the reasons I like In-N-Out Burger is not that you should have a lot of burgers, but the price is probably the lowest around for getting pretty fresh food. All right, so Craig says some people have been buying from pallet auctions to stock up. My friend bought a pallet from a university for $800 with shampoo, still brand new in boxes, and another pallet with nitrile gloves. All right, we got from Tiger, Gramps was so right, figures don't lie, but liars can figure. Okay. So let's talk about bartering for just a moment here, guys. I have a hard time believing that you're going to be bartering with your junk silver on the day that we have an SHTF type situation. So a couple that I'm aware of that could happen here in California, we could have an 8 earthquake. We could have a lot of damage to the infrastructure with an 8, to where you're only getting food by helicopter. So, you may have to have your own supplies for quite a while. There's situations where the electricity or electric grid could go down due to sabotage or terrorism. You could have things like an EMP go off. You could also have things like, a complete financial meltdown that happens in the markets that could also cause people to lose jobs and have another bad situation. In a lot of those, I think the first thing you're going to need around with you is your stack of emergency supplies. So I think that's very important to have. And if you're new to stacking and new to prepping in general, I think it's really important to have at the very least 3 months worth of food and water. And you can't usually get 3 months of water, but you get as much as you can. Try to get a month's worth of water if you can, 3 months of food. If you've got a pool, have a way to filter that water. And if you've got lakes or rivers by you, figure out how to filter that water too. Water is your most important thing. But usually within 3 months, you're going to have enough time to kind of take care of things. If you want to go a little further, go 6 months. If you want to be really safe, go a year. And if you have the means to do it and you want to be able to be completely safe, you go 2 years. And that comes from a farming friend, that if you have 2 years worth of supplies, that gives you enough time to rebuild and farm and get a whole season of crops going. I don't know anybody that's in a position like that, though, except for maybe this farmer guy. But I think you need to have that first. And then second, I think having cash, you'll be using that fast and first. But I can tell you that that's going to start moving around. And if people don't have cash and they don't have food, things to barter, there's going to be some desperation there. So you also need to have a lot of protection for yourself and your family, because that's the people you need to look out first. for first. The other thing that I do think will happen is I do think silver, and I also think gold backs could potentially be a good bartering tool. Once people kind of chill out a little bit and realize that whatever situation you're in isn't going to improve quickly and you need to trade things, I think people will be using that to trade. But I don't see gold really getting used a whole lot in bartering unless it's been like a year or two and society is pulling itself back together. But I think gold is the kind of thing that helps you rebuild your wealth after an SHTF situation. But that's just Surfer's take. So you guys don't necessarily need to follow that, but that's just kind of what I'm thinking. All right, so I want to see your guys' comments here real quick. All right, we've got buy a few items like rice and beans on each trip to the store. That's always good too. Buy a little extra. I have a video I filmed a year ago, and I keep telling you guys this, but I need to edit it, and I'm trying to be too perfectionistic and OCD about it because I want to make it more comprehensive, and I think I just need to get it out. But I can show you on a very low budget how you can go and buy for $20 a 20-pound bag of rice from Costco, and for I think it was about 25 or 30 bucks from Amazon, you can buy Mylar bags with oxygen packets. And then if you already have a flat iron in your house, or you can go buy one, you can seal the bags. And you can prepare that food in a way that will last 30 years. And it's stuff that you might already eat, like pinto beans, black beans, kidney beans, rice. You can do it with oatmeal. You can also do it with salt and with sugar, but you don't put the packets in for those. But I think I'll do a video on that. And then I also have some freeze-dried food to add some variety to that stuff that I bought too. I'd be careful buying crazy amounts of freeze-dried food that comes in the smaller packets. You're going to pay through the nose for that stuff. It's just going to be a ton of money. But those can be good too. Another way to do it, I think someone just mentioned here, is vacuum seal. You can also do that too. So you can get a vacuum sealer that'll help. Other things that are good for bartering are things like lighters, cigarettes, small bottles of alcohol, personal care supplies like deodorant and soap and shampoo and conditioner. People feel like they need that stuff. And for whatever reason, toilet paper is like gold, guys. I think toilet paper was the #1 bartering thing to do during COVID. And I was just watching a bunch of clips today that was talking about the second version of that whole thing coming down. So maybe we'll have more of that coming down with another pandemic at some point. 2 to 3 years of non-perishable food from Emergency Essentials and for Patriots. Yeah, that's probably a pretty good company too. Yeah, if you can get enough of it, go for it, guys. That's going to be very valuable. Okay, at L here, we say, Shiny Man was saying, you need to dechlorinate the water and filter the water to be safe to drink, the water in the pool. Yes, you got to have the right system for it. For Patriots, I don't know. They're advertising like crazy. They come out of a place not too far from where I lived in Utah. I have asked them for some information on like affiliate or discount pricing. So I do have some messages out to them. I need to get back to that. Surfer's got too much stuff on his plate right now, but I want to find out if I can get some samples sent in and do some videos on it and share it with you guys and hopefully get a discount code or two. Their stuff looks really good, and I'm tempted to buy some of it because it would fit under the beds really well. Here in California, I got to start putting crap under the beds now. That's like the only place I have left to put any kind of storage stuff. And it comes in totes already, and they're the flat totes. Most of the food storage companies come in big buckets. They're not going to fit under my beds. And so that's always been a problem. The stuff I make I end up putting them in 5-gallon bags, and that's pretty flexible. And then I put that into totes, and I store it in closets. But you also don't want to store this stuff in a garage where it's going to get too cold or like frozen, and you don't want it to go into, well, frozen's probably okay. You don't want it to go into a garage where it's going to get over 80 degrees, 75 degrees. It's going to be too hot. But things like 4 Patriots can be really good because it gives you a variety and you're eating more food like you're used to. But remember, that stuff is a really, really high premium. That's like going to, a fast casual type restaurant, taking their food and sealing it up. that their stuff's going to cost a lot more per calorie than if you just go get a bag of rice and make it yourself. So for each person that's on here, this stuff depends on what your budget is, and it depends on how much you want to allocate to it. So, it's funny when you look at SHTF situations, if you get in the middle of one, or we had, the craziest scenario I've heard is like something like a EMP that takes out electricity for 2 years. I've read the book, The Second After, and that's kind of crazy. Don't read that unless you guys have a strong stomach. But if a situation like that were to happen, you would hope and wish that you didn't even have any gold and silver. All you would have wanted is freeze-dried food that was going to last you 2 years, honestly. So, be careful. Don't overdo the gold and silver thing to the point where you don't have any food storage, you don't have any cash, you're in a ton of debt. Don't do things like that. All right, what else we got here? So, moonshine. Well, if you can make it, then you can sell it, right? What do you think will happen to the illegal immigrants once the government stops giving them $2,400 a month? I don't know. That's going to be ugly. That'll be like a humanitarian crisis on hand here. Chances are very low. Okay, what do we got here? There's a guy named Gerald Clemente, if you guys know him. If you know who he is, put a 1 in the chat. He says every time there's a financial issue, they take you to war. So maybe we're going to have one of those. Your most likely situation, guys, you can't really prep too heavy for an EMP type setting. I mean, there are devices you can get for your cars and your house, and Faraday bags and all this stuff that you can get into. That crap's expensive, and the probability of having something like that happen, and that's the big situation we get into, to me is way, way smaller than a situation of having a massive earthquake, a hurricane, or a tornado. You're much more likely to have those things. Those are the best things to prepare for. So I do what I call a 72-hour kit, or you can call it a bug-out bag. And I do put those in my cars in case I happen to be an hour away from my home and we get in a big earthquake. And, I may have to walk home. And by car, it takes an hour. It might take me a week to get home, and I want to have at least 3 days worth of supplies, including a change of clothes and a radio, and some protection, or defense protection, I should say, as well as food and water, so that I don't have to mess with anybody and worry about them and try to go around and start making my way back home in those situations. So I do some of that kind of stuff too. All right, what else we got? This conversation's totally growing legs, isn't it? MRE and meals ready to eat used by the military. I would avoid that stuff. That stuff's nasty. If you haven't tried it, try it before you buy too much of it. 700 meal plan for 4 people. So Jeff, how long does that last for? Is that a week, a month? Let's see. All right, so we got a couple ones there. You guys know what I'm talking about. That guy's crazy, but he's awesome. Okay, what else we got here? Yeah, he's got a big potty mouth. He's the oldest dude I know that has the biggest potty mouth. So I don't look too much at the MRE stuff. I avoid that. So with my 72-hour kits, I need food that's pretty lightweight, that's gonna last. I need water. I have little mini stoves, and I have little fuel that goes with them. Actually, I don't. I can just burn anything in these little stoves, and I can heat up water in a little pot, and I can use that to put into food that's similar to what Four Patriots has. So I think I got them from, it's a Mountain something company, but I'm gluten-free. I can't eat MREs. I can't eat a lot of this nasty brick stuff that comes in these kits. So I make my own kits. You guys put a 2 in the chat if you want to see how Sufer makes his bug out kit, and I'll show you guys what's in my bug out kit, and I'll show you how to make one. But to me, what I do is I put the more expensive freeze-dried stuff in there, And actually, you don't even need a bowl. You just need warm water. I guess you need warm water you heat up, and you put it inside the Marlite bag. You close it off, leave it in there for a few minutes, and it's going to be reconstituted, and you can eat it. So I think that's good. You guys, do you want to see my bug out bag? Okay, well, it's not with me now, but maybe we'll do a live stream on that. That might be more fun than an actual video. I can just pull out all my crap and show you guys what I have in it. It's kind of a heavy pack, and my bag actually is set up for 2 people. So it's like I think it's like a 25-pound bag. All right, let's see what else we got here real quick. All right, a lot of 2s, so we'll have to do that. Shiny, shiny man, peace out. Let's see, when people lose everything and have nothing to lose, they lose it. Yeah, you're going to see that stuff. You just need regular water. So what I buy is you can go onto Amazon and you can buy a box of little water packets, and I think they last like 5 years. So here's the other issue. I rebuilt my kits as soon as I saw the pandemic thing happening. I know my kits were out of date, and I ordered a ton of stuff, and I ordered it as soon as I heard that it was starting to spread around a little bit. So back in February of 2020, I started ordering a bunch of supplies in, and I ordered a lot, and I was able to redo my kits. But you got to remember to refresh them. You need to probably pull them out every year. Sorry, my nose is bugging me. And you got to check and see the dates on stuff. I wouldn't mess around with the dates on that. And you know, it's the same with like doing canned food at your house. Cans don't last 20 years if you get like canned beans. So you want to know when the dates are expiring. Take the food to the food bank and help out the people with that, and go buy new stuff every time your dates get there. Okay, I don't know why you guys aren't getting notifications, but I'm trying to figure out the best times to do the live streams. And my schedule's a little bit all over the place. So I'm not exactly sure. Once I have I have a little bit more consistency in when I can do them, I'll put that out there. The easiest live streams for me to do are going to be probably starting at 7 o'clock Pacific time. I just don't know if that's too late for everybody. If I were to just come out and say 7 Pacific, I can do that a couple times a week. Sometimes I want to be walking down at the beach, and I don't want to go down there when it's dark like this. So part of what I'm playing around with, and maybe I'll try to make my mind up by next Wednesday. But what I was thinking about doing is maybe a live stream while I'm walking at the beach on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I would probably be doing that around 3 o'clock. And then I was looking to maybe do one around 3 or 4 o'clock, and maybe it's better to just have the same time every time. On Monday and Friday, talking about the markets and talking about the news and what's going on. The ones on Monday and Friday would be strictly 30 minutes. The one on Tuesday and Thursday will probably be as long as I'm out walking. Wednesday, I want to do a longer one that's probably an hour to 2 hours. Next week, we'll do our live stream, and I'm going to start that somewhere between 5 and 7 o'clock Pacific. So one of the things that you can do is when you go to my channel, and I'll promise to put this out before Monday morning, I will put a post on the exact time that we have, and you'll see that in the community section. I think I'm going to try to do a lot of them around 7, but for this week, I think I'm going to do it starting at 5 for next Wednesday. And we'll probably go from 5 until 7 or 8 Pacific time. There'll be a lot of awesome giveaways. We're going to have a really cool party. I've got one guest that's coming on that I think you guys will like. And I'm looking to get a few other guests to come on as well. And so Knox, if you're available, and SPB, if you're available to help out with that on Wednesday, would be great. So let's just call it right now. Let's call it. It's going to start at 5 o'clock on Wednesday next week, and we'll go at least to 7 and maybe to 8 in case you guys need to jump on a little bit later. I'm not even sure if we're going to end up having elections, or if those elections are going to end up being even worse than the 2020. What I mean by that is different. Having all the mail-in ballots was different than what we've done in the past. We've never seen those kind of numbers of people voting. And there was way too much stuff going on. I'm a statistician, and I can tell you that there were statistical anomalies all over the place that are not possible. You can't have 110% of people voting in a rest home. You can't have 105% of the people voting in a county. It's just not even possible. And we're talking about registered people. But I don't know if we're going to even end up having an election personally. I think there's going to be a lot of crazy stuff that happens between now and then. And I think people in power don't want to give it up. But we'll see. Hopefully freedom will reign strong, and we'll be able to fix things. Neophyte, USCCA. All right, what do we have here? You say may only be in Cali for the classes. US, yeah, I'm kind of in that process too. If you want to see how 2024 is going to go as an election year, look no further than Venezuela. Yeah, I hope not. That's bad. Nothing good's happened down there recently with that stuff. All right, so add it to your guys' calendar. 5 o'clock Wednesday next week. We're going to start. Yeah, if you guys haven't hit that like button. Yeah, I think, as far as the election goes, there's a lot of things that happen. There's a lot of things that are on the peripheral. So you may not be able to prove things. You may not be able to prove certain things that happened or whatever else that goes on. But the idea here to me, I'm a person that is a very strong believer in the Constitution. To me, what's important is that the people are educated and that they vote the way that they feel is strong. I don't want to force anybody to vote in a certain political party. I'm not happy with a single political party that exists right now. I don't think any of them represent my beliefs exactly. And at the same time, I think a lot of the big parties, the two big ones that are in power, have gone away from their charters, as well as away from the Constitution and having smaller government, and the states having a lot of power. Even the presidency now has way too much power, in my opinion. So, based on that, I'm hoping that we can have a good, free election. I just don't know. It seems like there's a lot of shenanigans getting played. So hopefully it is good, but I just don't know. So if I had a choice of where I could live, guys, I would actually live. I would live in Hawaii as well. Hawaii's awesome. I'm really sad about the whole Maui thing. We have a place that we stay just south of Kapalua that we try to go to at least every other year, and it's all closed down now. We can't even go there, and I'm not sure if the resort's going to get, bankrupted, because they won't let anybody go out there. And I don't know how long that's going to be before they let people go out, but that whole thing's really sad. And I hope that the Hawaiian people are able to maintain their land. And I hope they, as a city and also as a state, rebuild Lahaina Town. That place was really cool. It had a lot of history. I'm a big fan of scrimshaw knives, if you guys know what those are. Just about every piece of scrimshaw is a couple hundred years old, because it was carved back when you could carve on ivory, or it was carved on whale baleen, and it was carved by guys that were whalers. So there was a really cool shop that was there on Lahaina Front Street that I, as a kid, bought a lot of these knives from, and I'm sure all that stuff's gone. It was all burned up. So I was pretty sad about that, as well as the people's homes and all of that. But we've been able to send some money out and help some people out, which is good. I'm beside myself on the whole thing. Okay, so what we got from Knox. Yeah. So let's talk timing real quick, and then we'll wind this down here in a minute. So as far as live streams go, my issue is I'm a dad. I'm a dad first before I'm a streamer or before I'm a YouTuber. So schedules sometimes shift and change. I have a daughter that just finally got her license today, so that's going to make things a little bit easier. But I can't 100% commit to a completely set schedule yet on a consistent basis with a lot of moving parts. So what I am going to try to shoot for is I think I'm going to shoot for 5 o'clock at night on Wednesdays to do the live streams for right now going forward. Those are going to be the main live streams where we're going to be doing things like sticker giveaways. We'll do some silver giveaways. So kind of think like a Yankee Stacking live stream on Thursdays that he does. It's going to be a little bit more like that. I am hoping on Thursdays to bring a guest or 2 guests on. Some of them will be stackers, so some of them could be you guys. I'd love to have someone like Tiger Stacker come on. I'd love to have Knox. I don't know if you come on ever to talk about your experience, but I'd love to have people in the community come on and chat. You don't have to be someone that's proactively building a YouTube channel either. But I'd love to hear from you guys what you're doing. I've got my thoughts in my head. I've got what I've been doing the last 3 years I've been stacking, and that is definitely not an exhaustive or the only way you can do things. So I want to mix it up and have some fun with that. Monday and Friday, I'm thinking of 3 o'clock to 3:30 doing a quick financial / news update on what's going on. And that one's going to be very quick and fast. And then what I'm looking at for Tuesday and Thursday, it'll probably be ad hoc. Sometimes those aren't going to happen, and sometimes they will. But I'm hoping to get out to the beach and go for a walk. And if I can do that, then I'll bring you guys along with me. Saturday and Sunday, I don't know yet. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that on Saturday. Saturday may be my day of filming and surfing. So I may not be doing a live stream on Saturdays. And then Sundays, I'm kind of debating if I do a little fireside chat with you guys about friends, family, and faith. I was thinking we might do that. It would be kind of fun. But the way I look at it is for short term, I'm trying to get the channel to the point where I can start to do more creative things with it. Right now, you're barred from doing any kind of affiliate marketing until you're monetized. And until you're monetized, you don't have super chats, you don't have memberships. There's things I want to do with those that could be really cool and fun for the community and help you guys a lot. And I need to get there. And I'm about 1,300 hours. I need to get to 4,000 to 3,000 hours to get the mini monetization. And then I need to get to 4,000 hours to get the full thing. So right now I'm going to be doing more heavy live streams. And then in time, maybe we'll decide that that's a great format. Let's stick with it. Or maybe I'll pull back and do, 1 live stream a week or 2. But one of my favorite guys to watch that I don't mention a whole lot is Ron's Basement. So a shout out to Ron's Basement. I think he's really cool. And I love how it's just simple. He's in his basement and, he's talking about news. And, I have no idea if he has silver or gold coins because he doesn't show it off. It's not about the coins. It's about what's going on in the world and how it might affect us. That's a fast car, guys. We got some fast cars around this neighborhood. It's kind of crazy. I don't do that. I don't put my money in cars. I think that's dumb. I'd rather put my money into other stuff. All right, let's last thing here, and then we're going to wind this down. All right, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, I will tell you guys, one thing I don't want to do on this channel is be over politicized. I don't want to be going after one party or the other. I will tell you that I think it's important for people to vote their conscience, and I think it's important for people to get educated and see what's going on out there. Let's see. Bonky1, welcome to the channel. Lived in Haleiwa. Oh my goodness, yes. I would totally move there in a heartbeat. I love that place. It's my favorite place to go surfing in Hawaii right now, so. Family first. Yep, guys, that's true. Do not under any circumstances live stream in rush hour. Does someone do that? I don't know if anybody does that. I did do one where it was not in rush hour. I was just driving around the street and I had a dash camera. I've seen Meet Kevin do that before, where he's done like rush hour stuff, holding his big microphone in his convertible. I thought that was kind of weird. Yeah, I can do that, guys. I can start putting some notifications out. I've been kind of doing these live streams ad hoc, but I can start to put some notifications out as soon as I know when they're coming. You can always watch the replays. That's true. You like the Fireside? It's totally like my whole side of my body is now like on fire. It's really hot now. Did you guys see Oprah, billionaire, and The Rock, multimillionaire, asking for money for Maui? Yep, I did see that. I hope what they're doing is helpful. I saw something like $1,200 per month that they're going to give to families, which would be helpful. I hope that it is not the newly driving daughter. I don't know what you're referring to on that, Knox, but yeah, I like Ron. If you guys haven't gone to Ron's basement, you should go check him out for sure. And then a couple others that I'll just do quick shout outs here for too that I know is Tiger Stacker has a fun channel. Metal Scholar is one. I've done some collaborations with him, and you'll see some more of those coming. But he's pretty cool, and he's a school teacher, does video editing, so his videos I actually feel are really well done. They make my videos feel like they're total amateur videos. And the other thing I'll tell you guys too is Ray Barr is another guy that he does more shorts than he does long videos around coins, but he's got some cool little shorts that he'll put out. Oh, I don't know who else is on here. Do you guys want to put any of you guys that have a YouTube channel that you're trying to build? Go ahead and put your link in this chat real quick, and hopefully we can get you a couple subs on here. I'm not Yankee, man. I got like 20. We have 21 people on here right now. I don't have like 565 people, but hopefully we'll get there. I mean, my goal, if you guys really want to know what my goal is I want to be the fastest growing YouTube stacking channel. And in time, I plan on turning this into a big business if I continue to go with it and go down that pathway and it works out. Eventually I hope to have editors and people helping me film. And one of my favorite guys to watch too, if you don't know him, is Mark Moss. He's here in San Clemente as well. He's got a full staff that he does stuff with. I think he's close to 400,000 subscribers. To me, it's not all about just stacking gold and silver coins. As we've talked about today, we've talked about prepping, we've talked about stock market, we've talked about bonds. Eventually, this channel could end up morphing into something that's more like Mark Moss's channel. It could morph into something that's a little bit more about self-reliance and just helping yourself out, or it could stick with coins and everything else. I don't know yet. The channels do morph over time. For me, I'm just trying to find my groove, and right now I am creating videos that I think are fun. As ideas pop into my head, if you guys have ideas for me, send me an email and give me some ideas. We'd be happy to make those. If you haven't done so, hit the thumbs up. But to me, it's just fun. Going down to the beach is fun for me to do, and going to coin stores, going to coin shows. I'm hoping to do that. I was going to pick up my girls from Salt Lake City. They were coming in from a trip in Switzerland, and they had a very tight window of 45 minutes to go through customs before they got on their flight. So I decided to go surprise them, and I flew up there. And my parents live there, and I used to live there. So I ended up going up 2 days early, or a day and a half early, and I called up Goldback on Friday morning and said, I'm flying up today. Can I come interview you guys? And they said, sure, we'll have someone there for you to interview. So I was able to do an interview at 5 o'clock at night on a Friday. How cool is it that they stayed that long? So I need to get that video edited. There was some issues with the camera, so I got to do some stabilization, but hopefully that'll come out. So things like that to me are really fun. If I can do an ad hoc video and do an interview, why not? I mean, I think that's pretty cool. I happen to be if you haven't seen my safe video yet, you need to go look that up. It has a picture of a safe on it, and I think it says "Safe Your Silver" or something like that. It's the best safe video on YouTube at least that's what I've been told by other YouTubers that have tens of thousands of subscribers. They've told me it's the best one out there. I don't know, whatever. But I happen to be dropping my daughter off from a dance competition, not dance competition, but a dance class. And I looked up on my phone real quick, safe companies, and I found one that was close by me, and I had my gear with me. So I just went to them, and I knocked on the door and asked if I could film a video, and they said, sure, let's do a video. And I ended up getting about 35 to 45 minutes of that, which was really cool. Okay, so I'm going to end this in just a minute. Last thing I do want to say, though, is a couple tips on building your YouTube channel for those of you that are still on here. I've been able to go from 0 to 1,000, whatever I'm at now, 1,040 or something, in just a little over 4 months of doing this. And I have not been hardcore on it, right? I've got a full-time day job. I'm a dad. I've got responsibilities, and I got a lot of other stuff kind of going on. So the way that I really built it quickly, and I think that's pretty fast. I think getting to 1,000 in about 4 months is pretty fast. The one thing I should have done differently, though, guys, is more live streams. If I had done more live streams, I would be closer to monetization. But one thing I'll put out there that I think has really helped is it's about the community and getting to know people. You know, I worked with Stormy from Empire Precious Metals. He's a mentor and a friend now. I worked with Yankee as a Canon member, who's a mentor and a friend. And so last thing I'll just throw out there to you is if you're trying to or you're thinking about building out a YouTube channel, get to know some of these bigger stacking channels. See if they'll take you under their wing and if they'll give you advice and if they will give you feedback on your videos. And what I find is as they get to know you, they're more willing to give you shout outs when you come on their live streams. The other thing is you got to create content, and some of us are going to be good at creating content. Some of us may not be as good at creating content. We may have to find the right niche or the right style we have. For me, I have a really hard time just sitting in my house. I'm a moving around guy, so I need to kind of move around, and I actually like creating my videos better than I even do doing the live streams, just because I don't like to just stay in my house. I like to be moving around, and live streams are hard to do if you're walking at the pier. I kind of pulled it off yesterday, but that wasn't easy. It's kind of hard to do. But anyway, I'm going to call it a night, guys. You've been on here. It's been good. Hopefully this is helpful. If these are good and you guys are enjoying these and liking these, keep hitting that thumbs up and you know, shoot me emails. If you like the content that's going on, let me know. If you have certain times you want to see live streams at, if there's certain kinds of videos you want to see, you know, let me know. If you want me to go to Disneyland and ask people if they would rather have a Mickey Mouse shaped ice cream cone or ice cream bar or you know, a silver quarter, I'll go do that. You guys let me know what would be fun and what you'd like to see me do. But until next time, peace out, and thank you for coming tonight. Bye-bye, guys.